What's up, Headliner Nation? Kyle coming to you from the Draft.com studios, talking rankings for quarterbacks and wide receivers in this episode of the Fantasy Headliners. And we are going to get through this information rather quickly for you, kind of a let it flow diet version. We're going to get through a lot of names really quick. If you're looking for more of a in-depth breakdown, that's where our start and sit videos come into play. So this is going to help you in terms of picking actual players. The start and sit gives you a little bit more breakdown of those players. But Headliner Nation, do me a favor, hit the like button on the video. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're checking out this channel for the very first time. Real quick, before we jump into that information, I told you I would update you on the status of my rankings. And here we are, 6 weeks into the season, heading into week 17, 40th overall over on Fantasy Pros out of 153 people. Running back, the one area that's killing me right now, unfortunately. So quarterbacks, 14th overall. Wide receivers, 27th overall. We'll talk about the other positions in a different episode. But for now, we got to jump into it. Let's get ready to roll, Headliner Nation. Quarterbacks and wide receivers rankings for week 7. First up on the list for quarterbacks is going to be Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans. He has been good through the air and on the ground, a rushing touchdown in all but 2 games this season. Kyler Murray coming in at number 2. The Giants are giving up 20-plus points per game to opposing quarterbacks right now. He continues to add extra yards on the ground, 221 rushing yards over his last 4 games. The Cardinals defense is just as bad as the Giants as well, so there's going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of points scored in this matchup. Lamar Jackson, the true dual threat, showed up last week. Can he do it again this week? He holds a lot of upside because of those rushing yards on the ground. Russell Wilson at number 4, 0 interceptions this year. Expect the same efficiency this week against Baltimore. Continues to be one of the safest starts week in and week out. Josh Allen coming in at number 5, the highest upside of any quarterback this week. However, as I mentioned, it could be limited if a big day for the running backs were to occur. So if we're focused on Devin Singletary, if we're focused on Frank Gore, who is my choice at running back this week, Miami's giving up almost 25 points per game to opposing quarterbacks, most in the National Football League. But if the Buffalo Bills get out ahead early, we could see a lot of Frank Gore. Matt Ryan at number 6, at least 300 yards in every single game this season. Jared Goff at number 7. Are we going to get a bounce back game this week? Absolutely could happen. The Falcons are giving up the second most fantasy points per game in the National Football League to opposing quarterbacks. Dak Prescott at number 8. Don't love the matchup. Don't hate it either. The Eagles can't really stop any wide receivers right now. A safe play for Dak. His counterpart in that game, Carson Wentz, coming in at number 9. Wentz has been steady, but that huge blow-up game hasn't happened yet. Could have happened this week against the Cowboys. Like I said in my start-sit video, I'm a little bit worried that this could either be a defensive battle or an offensive battle. I don't think there's going to be any in between. So I think we're going to be really happy with these performances, or we're going to be really upset at the end of the week. Jacoby Brissett at number 10. He is tied for 3rd in the NFL right now with a 6.0 touchdown percentage. Extremely underrated. Gardner Minshew, I've got him back inside the top 12 even after a poor performance last week. He's only thrown 2 interceptions this year. His second interception coming last week. Minshew Mania could be back this week. Cincinnati giving up the 4th most points per game to opposing quarterbacks, and they're missing their top 2 cornerbacks on defense this week. Aaron Rodgers at number 12. All of his wide receivers seem to be beat up. He's going to have some limited upside this week. He's really going to have to focus on Jimmy Graham stepping up and helping him out. I think it limits his upside, but he'll still do just enough this week to land at number 12. Jones coming in at number 13. The Arizona D is going to give up plenty of points this week. Again, a back and forth game could bode really well for Daniel Jones. Again, I think he has a really high ceiling, but I also worry about that floor a little bit as well. The floor is a lot higher this week than normal weeks. The thing that could really push him up the rankings, again, if he could do a little bit of damage on the ground like he did in his first game against Tampa Bay. Jimmy G has not been great for fantasy this year, but he's been good as if we're just talking NFL quarterbacks. Fantasy-wise, really hasn't given us a lot of upside. However, this is an interesting matchup, a good matchup for him. This is the week that he could break out and really become a fantasy asset for you. Tom Brady, this matchup, this game scares me a little bit. I think the Jets are going to show up on Monday Night Football and they're going to give the Patriots some problems. I think this could be a defensive battle. He's still a start for me, but he is a limited upside start. At number 16, Kirk Cousins. The offense has been rolling. He's the quarterback 5 the last 2 weeks. Can he continue against Detroit? Matt Stafford, again, his counterpart in that game, falling right below him at 17. I think he's going to give you some decent numbers this week, but if they can't find the end zone, or if they have trouble punching it into the end zone again this week like they did last week, then you're going to see some issues. Phillip Rivers at 18, at least 290 passing yards in all but one game this season. Tough matchup this week. That's why I got him a little bit lower. Andy Dalton at 19, the volume continues to be there, but can he convert that volume into good fantasy numbers, at least 35 attempts in every game this season? And then at number 20, Ryan Tannehill. He has legit wide receivers. He has legit weapons there to help him. He just needs Henry to step up. Henry. He needs Derrick Henry to step up. If he can have a really decent game, keep the pressure off of Ryan Tannehill, he can hit some open receivers. He could be a start this week as well. All right, time to focus up on our wide receivers now. And number one might surprise you a little bit, but that's Cooper Kupp from the Los Angeles Rams. He is my safest play of the week. Will also have a huge floor. Atlanta giving up over 40 fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers. T.Y. Hilton, maybe another surprise coming in at number 2, but Bradley Roby is going to be out. He's coming off the bye, so he's had a week to heal up. Houston is giving up also around 40 fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins, I'm going to continue to put him up here. The big game is coming. It's going to be happening very, very soon. People, do not give up on DeAndre Hopkins. He's 5th in targets, 5th in receptions. The only thing that is missing is those big plays and those touchdowns right now. Continue to put him out there because that breakout's going to happen. Julio Jones, he is a must start. Will he have some limited upside with Ramsey this week? Typically, I would say yes, but with Ramsey being on a new team, he might be still learning some of the signs, some of the calls, some of the things like that. He could be really focused on that. It could allow for Julio Jones to maybe burn him for a couple of plays. I'm still going to put him up here pretty high. Michael Thomas, at least 13 fantasy points per game in PPR leagues this season. We're going to continue to roll him out as well. Julian Edelman at 6. Is Gordon going to be out? Edelman will see a ton of targets if that happens. Keenan Allen at number 7. The addition of Hunter Henry being back, being healthy, I think helps Keenan Allen. I know he hasn't been great as of late, but he started off the season well. He had a huge season last year. Continue to roll him out. He's going to see a majority of the targets, but I think having Hunter Henry back, Mike Williams healthy, those things will help open stuff up for Keenan Allen. Tyler Lockett, in number 8, this is going to be the first week without Will Dissly. He always has that touchdown upside, but will he see some increased targets because Dissly will be gone? I don't think Luke Wilson will be making an impact. Adam Thielen's going to move around a little bit. Stephon Diggs will likely get Darius Slay. That's going to leave Adam Thielen the chance to move inside, move outside, do some things, get himself open, some big plays. Michael Gallup at number 10. The reason we've got him right here right now is because of Amari Cooper. Now, Amari Cooper did practice on Friday, but will he be limited? Here's the thing. Amari Cooper might see some of those big plays typically, but if he's a little bit more limited, he's not going to stretch the field as much. Gallup will be stretching the field the most. That could lead to a big play or two. If he can get a big touchdown, he's definitely a option as a wide receiver 1 finisher this week. Robert Woods, the second safest player on that team, right behind Kupp right now. Still could see a really good week for him this week. Chark, I know a lot of you have said that you don't love the way we've talked about Chark, that you think we're a little bit too low on him. We're putting him as a wide receiver 1 this week, though. We're not low on Chark. We just haven't loved some of the matchups so far. He's been a little bit up and down. He has big play potential. Cincinnati missing their top 2 cornerbacks this week. This is the week that we could see some of those big plays. Larry Fitz, can the Giants stop anybody? Typically no, especially the GOAT, Larry Fitzgerald. No DJ or a limited David Johnson. Fitz could see an increase in targets this week. Tyler Boyd could see a very limited running game for the Cincinnati Bengals this week. Mixon might not get that involved. If that happens, Boyd is going to be peppered with targets all day long. Coming in at number 15, John Brown. Some of the highest upside on the slate this week. I think he has legit wide receiver 1 upside this week. However, again, like I mentioned with Josh Allen, are we going to see some of that upside limited if the running backs get going early and often? Amari Cooper, we've got him at 16. Again, we're being safe and conservative with Amari Cooper this week just because of that injury. He did get practice in on Friday. However, is he going to be limited in any way, shape, or form? Are they going to have to take him off the field? Is he going to stretch the field at all? We'll have to wait and see what happens. Stefon Diggs, we are not giving up on Stefon Diggs yet. Another big game coming. Probably not a big game, but a serviceable game is coming for Stefon Diggs. He is number 3 in fantasy points per target right now. Yes, I did slip over Kenny Golladay there. I apologize. Kenny Golladay coming in at number 17 over Amari Cooper. He had a huge game last week. I think it's going to take a limited run game this week against the Minnesota Vikings. Kerryon Johnson might not do a whole lot. That means that Matthew Stafford is going to have to look to his wide receivers a little bit more. That's good news for Kenny Golladay. So Golladay coming after Cooper, and then Diggs at 18. At 19, Brandon Cooks. He has the highest upside of anybody on the Rams. But again, that high upside hasn't turned into great fantasy consistency, which a lot of us like. However, if he's your wide receiver 2 or 3 on your team, you're still okay putting him out there with that high game upside. And number 20, Calvin Ridley. He should find the end zone this week. He should have different volume, especially if Ramsey were to limit Julio Jones in any way, shape, or form. If they look away from Julio a little bit more often, Calvin Ridley could see a little bit of extra this week. Allen Lazard, there's literally nobody at wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has less to pick at wide receiver than a homeschool high schooler looking for a prom date. So Allen Lazard has a ton of upside this week. Philip Dorsett at number 22. No Josh Gordon. Dorsett could be a sneaky play for you this week. For McLaurin, he's got limited upside this week. However, he still continues to see a lot of volume and has that big play upside. He's going to be a low-end wide receiver 2 for us. Allen Robinson, he's the number 1 wide receiver on that team. Even in a tough matchup, he's going to see a decent amount of targets. Will Fuller at 26. I mean, the guy almost had another huge game last week. He ended up dropping 3 touchdowns last week, 3 potential touchdowns. He could have had 6 touchdowns in 2 weeks if he would have just held on to the ball. So he's still going to be a guy that we would like to start. He's got a lot of touchdown upside, big play upside. Auden Tate, number 27, 36 targets in 3 games. That tells you what he's seeing for volume right now. Zay Jones, that is an interesting one that we see coming in at 28, but there's no Tyrell Williams this week. Is there going to be an increased focus on Darren Waller? The play after the catch is going to be the key. Can Zay Jones gain some yards, make some play after the catch? If he can do that, a nice PPR play for you this week. Same thing for Cole Beasley, a nice PPR. Should see a nice amount of targets this week. And then Jamison Crowder with Sam Darnold being back. Crowder last week looking great again. Are we going to see that continue this week? He's going to see a lot of targets. They're likely going to be playing from behind or close. So we're still going to see him involved in the passing game quite a bit. So go ahead and fire him up in PPR leagues because he could be a nice choice for you this week. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Quarterbacks and wide receivers, everything that you need to know for those rankings heading into Sunday. Get those lineups set. We'll see you on the live show again, 9 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night tonight. If you're watching this video right now, if you're watching on Sunday, it was last night. But make sure you tune in to that. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. We'll catch you on the next episode. Have a great one.